The blooper, here's the blooper, is this isn't gonna save and we're gonna have to do it
I
all over
know.
again.
Oh my God.
You're now listening to The Creator Code, the podcast dedicated to unlocking the secrets of your favorite online creators. Each week, we will deep dive into the tech, tips, and tricks to find out what truly makes them tick. Whether you're a new creator just starting out or an accomplished veteran, this show is made for you. And now, here's your host, MattyTingles.
Okay, we are live. Welcome to the Creator Code podcast. I am your host, MattyTingles. This is the podcast where we unlock the secrets of your favorite creators. Thank you so much for being here. Before anything, please remember to subscribe and leave a review wherever you're listening to this. Also, video of this podcast will be on the Creator Code podcast YouTube channel. So make sure to check that out and subscribe if you would like to. Today, we have a very, very special guest joining us. I'm talking 238,000 subscribers. I'm talking 30 million views. Incredible ASMR artist, streamer, and most importantly, I get to call her my friend, of course. I'm talking about Slight Sound. Slight, hello.
Hello. I'm here.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. This is
course.
sick.
Of course. No, you were on my list automatically of people that I wanted to get on the show early. And again, if things go hopefully as I hope, we redo this in person too.
Oh, buddy.
You know what I mean?
Hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon. Also, thank you for sending me vaccine links.
Yeah. If I can be the vaccine fairy for everyone, I will. I'm currently fully vaxxed. I had my second shot over 2 weeks ago, so everything's working in my body. But it's funny because I personally have taken a lot of precautions, probably more than a lot of people. And so I've been very isolated, and it's really hard for me to go out and do stuff. So I haven't done anything because I'm the anxiety of going out in public again is so high that I'm I could just stay home.
Yeah, it's so Wait, okay. So did you do the one where you had to get two?
Yeah, I did Moderna.
Okay.
So I had to do two, but with 4 weeks in between. So
right. Okay. So is that the one where most people are saying the second one you kind of feel bad for a day?
Yeah. Well, okay. So apparently that was the case, but I didn't get as many side effects, which is at once wonderful and also did it work?
Right.
It's always that did anything happen? But
Right.
apparently some people just don't get very intense side effects. So I just felt fatigued, a little sleepy and a little achy, but
did you have was it sore, whatever arm you got it on?
Okay, the first time, I swear to you, 3 days couldn't use my left arm, almost at all.
Okay.
But then the second one, it was half of a day that it hurt and then it was done. So
Okay. I mean, look, everyone that I've heard that has gotten, especially the second one, said that it was 12 to 24 hours of feeling whatever, and then it snaps out of it and you're perfectly fine.
And then you're just oh, okay, I guess this is it.
Yeah. I also was told to get it in your dominant arm because you're moving that more. And
so that's what I was told, but knowing myself, I was not going to move it whether or not it was my dominant arm, and I was going to actively not use my dominant arm. So
got it.
I didn't.
Okay. And it doesn't matter which arm, right?
No, and you can get the same arm twice. You can switch it up if you want. You can do whatever. You can mix and match your arms. It all goes to the same place in your bodies.
Okay. Wow. I listen. Congrats on being fully vaxxed. That's big time. I cannot wait to be in that same place and.
Yes. And then I can come over and hang out.
Oh my God.
And I can meet your puppy. And
I know. I know she's met like a few people. And also like I bought this house last year in the middle of it in
Yeah.
May. So like I didn't get to have like a housewarming party. People didn't come over for a year.
Yeah.
It's like so weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so how are you doing today?
How am I doing today? I'm doing okay. I stayed up a little too late last night, which is not abnormal, but
Mhm.
I slept in a little bit. It was a little overcast.
Yeah.
But I've
Yeah.
been doing a lot of cleaning because springtime really does something to me.
Yes. Yeah.
Like actually, like that whole spring cleaning thing is very real.
Absolutely.
So I cleaned, I've been hanging out, I've been dancing. I don't know. I've
I
been
saw
like
that. I love it.
there's like something so therapeutic about dancing, especially when nobody's around because like obviously nobody cares.
Right.
And it just feels good to just like
I love it.
dance, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, real overcast. In fact, it even rained here for a little bit. Um, I haven't even looked at the weather, but I thought it was going to start being like consistently nice.
didn't we all?
This is actually the first year that I've realized as an adult human how much the weather affects my mood. I've never realized it till this year.
Yes. Like I think I think also the compounding of like isolation and the
Right.
weather really was like,
Right.
oh,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
next level, like, oh God.
I completely agree. Yeah, it's been oh, yeah. Well, listen, I'm so glad you're here. It's great to see you. You're killing it in the red jacket.
Thank you.
Oh my. Okay. All right. Let's all right, let's get started. I have some really cool interesting questions for you, and if you're out there listening, whatever you're doing in life, or if you're a creator of any size or you're thinking about it, I hope that this is beneficial to you. I try to write questions that, first of all, I want to know because I'm a fan of these people, but also it's also like I'm trying to write it for people out there to learn, right?
Yeah.
Because I have learned, this is like the fifth or sixth one I've recorded, and I've learned stuff from all of them. So very excited. Okay. We're gonna get the dumb, stupid one out of the way because I'm sure you've been asked this before, but I don't know. Where did the name Slight Sounds come from?
I wish there was like a super cool story. Like that's the thing is like whenever I think about being interviewed, I'm like, damn, I really should have planned my experience a little more interestingly because because everything I'm like, they're like, so how did you get into ASMR? Like, what's the? And I'm like, man, I
Yeah.
should have like had a better like backstory, like lore. I needed more lore.
Lore.
Anyway, so Slight Sounds, I really like alliterations. I think they're really like neat, and I just think like whenever someone does alliteration well and it like
Yeah.
works, it's like ooh, like
Yeah.
that's good. And so I was like, okay, well, I know I want an alliteration, so I think I don't remember what I did, but I probably just wrote a whole bunch down, and I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I want something like quiet. I want something, gentle, something that sounds, ASMR-y. And
Right.
so I came upon Slight Sounds, and I was like, whoa,
I love it.
that's good.
You're actually the second person because I recorded with Friv yesterday, and that's the same thing. She's like, I love alliteration, so I love foxes, and then she's like the F,
Yeah, and also like now being called Slight as a name has been really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's like weird to like be so connected to like a different name that's not my real name, but like it's
Right.
so interconnected with me now that it's like I'm
Yeah.
also Slight. Like that's yeah.
Yeah, so if you were at like an event, hopefully they'll happen soon, some sort of convention or something. If you were there and you heard people like yell to you Slight, you would
Oh
hear that.
yeah.
And so you're used to
Honestly,
that?
well, it's funny because if someone said my other name, I'd be like, oh God.
Oh yeah, true. That's a good
So I
point.
would hope that someone was saying
Good point.
Slight.
Yes.
But yeah, and I also like think like this is I don't want to get too like deep too quickly, but like gender is kind of like a weird thing for me. Like I don't know, I've never been someone who's like really been like I like being feminine and I
Yeah.
like that whole thing, but I don't know, the slight is very like ethereal feeling,
Yeah.
and it feels a little genderless, and I kind of like that experience of just kind of like, it doesn't feel like tied down to like, oh, this is what you
Nice.
are, this is how you feel. And so slight is like, ooh, like I like that.
Perfect.
That's good.
Yes. Perfect. That is, listen, I know you didn't think that you had a great answer for it, but you did. That was good. To go with that moving forward. It's
all right.
Okay, wonderful. I love that alliteration. That's so wow. Okay, cool. Slight, what do you miss most about the world pre-pandemic?
Ooh, buddy. I think just options, honestly, like the idea of being able to have the option to do whatever I want, like whatever I want, whenever I want. Especially being a creator, because like, although, you know, we spend a lot of time inside and we spend a lot of time doing stuff, we also have the ability to be transient and like experience a lot and not have a schedule. And so I think it's been hard because it's like, it's just been so confining, and I feel like, you know, I can't just like, oh, you know, I don't have anything to do today until later, so I can go do X, Y, or Z because I don't have the, you know, 9 to 5. So yeah, like options, obviously people, like, but I feel like that's kind of mostly a given. Obviously, I think like, you know, I'm someone who I like people. I don't necessarily think I'm extroverted or introverted. I don't really, it's hard to, you know, like define that kind of stuff. But like, I do miss like really good connection with people. Like that is something I really miss.
Absolutely. Yeah. Options. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Options. I've been telling people my biggest one was movie theaters. Really miss going to movies and traveling. I had like 4 trips planned for.
And if I had to have like a very specific answer, if we're super honest, thrift stores. I literally have not been to a thrift store in over a year. And if anyone is listening knows me, I go to a thrift store at least once a week, or used to. So
are they going to be open when things like, do you think a lot of them made it?
I think they are. I think, I mean, like Goodwill, all the like corporate big ones are going to be open. I don't know about the small ones, but like, you know, Goodwill's still going to be there. But it's just funny because like thinking about like, I want to go back, and obviously I'm fully vaxxed, but like also thinking about like going into a place where like it's like secondhand clothes and people touch all the stuff. And I'm like, oh no.
I know. I wonder how, like, you know, most establishments have taken precautions for it. I wonder how places like Goodwill have done that. They're like, wash your hands when you come in, but also everything here has been touched
like 80 times.
Okay. Actually, I could have guessed that. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, this is exciting, and I have 2 parts of this next question.
Okay.
Because I'm very excited about it. It was just announced that a movie that you were a part of called We're All Going to the World's Fair. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So it was you. I saw, obviously, because you posted about it, but that it's going to be, that it got picked up by HBO Max?
Yes.
Right?
HBO Max and like I think a different film company as well.
Okay. So tell me about that movie and how you became involved in it.
Yeah. It was, I got an I think it was an Instagram message from a casting director, and they were like, "Hey, we're making this film and we really want one of your videos to be a part of this." And at first, well, it's funny because as you know, as a creator, when you get big asks like that, honestly, my first one was like, this seems not real. Like, are you sure about that?
Yes.
So I you know, inquired and was like, this sounds interesting, like, could you tell me more? And so they kind of explained to me that this was going to be a movie about like the internet and, you know, maybe darker sides of the internet, not ASMR as a part of that, but just generally like their, you know, creepy pasta and Reddit, and they're kind of exploring that.
Yeah.
And so one of my other first questions was like, how are you going to portray ASMR? Because I also had that, you know, fear that they were going to use my video as like, a joke or like some sort of like, like, haha, this is ASMR. And in fact, it was the complete opposite. The director, actually watches ASMR themselves and like, knows the community and understands it. And so I felt very comfortable like letting them use my content. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, that feels good.
Yeah.
So yeah, they basically were like, this is the specific video we'd like to, use. And so yeah, they took one of my videos and plopped it in a movie.
Wow.
and it was at Sundance. Like it premiered at Sundance and I was like, what?
Yes, big time. I love that. Okay, so I think there's a really just to backtrack a little bit, I think there's a really good lesson here for people listening about the kind of emails that you will no doubtably get as a creator.
Yes.
Right. And like you said, right, you're like, right when you got it, you're like, and funny story that I just found out, that Reese's movie that we did.
Yeah.
Raffi was supposed to be in it and he thought that it was a scam and turned it down because he thought it wasn't real.
Oh no. But like that's so real. It's
of course.
Oh.
Yes. So if you're out there and you're a creator of any size or you're just starting out, just as a reminder, like be very cautious with the emails that you get. After a while, you'll be able to tell for the most part, like,
oh yeah,
there's so many that I get that are clearly copy and pasted. Sometimes they forget to change the name of the person.
Yes. Also,
and
the
honestly,
email that it's being sent from, huge way to tell.
Yes. And just kind of just how they, I can tell you from experience when it's legitimate. The way that they handle themselves is normally pretty professional, and they show interest, and a lot of them that I get are just clearly not that.
Yes. And there's no personalization. Like they haven't, like, even if they were genuine, it doesn't feel like they've even looked at your channel barely. They're like, hey, we know you have a lot of subscribers. Basically, that's the end of it.
Yep. And I've gotten them where they didn't do the thing on the email, so it shows everyone that they sent it to at once. You know what I mean? It's just like, just so bad.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, honestly, I've realized that I'm glad that they reached out via Instagram, because it almost did feel better, because I could like go to their profile and like kind of like, you know what I mean? Like I could be like, oh, this is a casting director. They're not like lying. They have like a resume versus like an email that's kind of an ethereal, like floating email.
That's a good point. That the brand deal I just did with Scotch Brite, they contacted me through an agency on Instagram, and then I could go to their Instagram and be like, oh, this isn't actually
exactly.
legit. Interesting. Okay, so and they already had the video, the clip that they wanted of you?
So like they basically, they asked, they knew exactly what they wanted. And so they said, like, do you have this? I don't even know if I had it or if they had to like download it, but because it was such an old, it's actually a very old video of mine, which was very cool, because it was like, wow, like something that I created many years ago is still being appreciated and is going to continue to be appreciated.
Nice. I love that. Okay, so here's and congrats on that, by the way. That's really cool. Sundance is big time. That's really cool.
And HBO, I was like, what? Like I could just go to HBO and be like, hey.
Okay, now here's the important part. Are you have you set up an IMDb?
I haven't. Someone in my Discord said that I should.
Get on it. I'm telling you, especially if it was at Sundance and now it's going to be on HBO Max. I'm telling you.
That's true.
Yeah.
I guess though, it's funny because it's like, I'm very grateful for being in this movie and being able to be a part of it. I think there is a small part of me that's a little upset that it had to happen during a pandemic, because I know that I probably would have been able to like go to Sundance and like have like, community and experience that. And I'm like, I'm trying not to like let that taint it, but it definitely is like that, like, God, we just like, gosh dang it. Like,
Yep. Have you seen the movie?
Yeah, I saw it when it premiered. So they had like a virtual viewing at Sundance, and I got a free ticket, and I got to watch it on my TV. And
nice.
It was very surreal.
Nice. That's so cool. Oh, I cannot wait to see it on HBO Max, and I hope you all check that out too and look for Slight.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. I love like I'm always back and forth with like, I feel so protective of ASMR and the part of the community and the part of the internet that it has, but I'm also like, I think it's so cool to see people get chances like that.
Yes, I agree.
You know what I mean?
And I especially, I mean, I think when it's done well and when it's respected and used in like a bigger way is like when it just is so perfect and just feels so good and like, yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, because I've definitely been contacted to be in things that they were not going to portray ASMR in a way that is tasteful or
exactly
correct. So yeah, that's really cool that they were like actually using it for
good.
For good. That's really, really cool. Love it. Well, I cannot wait to see it. That's really cool. Okay, so here's the thing. So I love switching gears here. I love that you start every your videos with hello my sound soulmates. Love that. Here's the thing. I have been trying to come up with a name for my viewers for like 5 years. Nothing works. So listen, you don't have to come up with anything on the spot right now, but I'm just telling people, if you think of anything, let me know, because I love it. Makes it so personal, and it makes it feel like, as the viewer, it makes the viewer feel like they're part of this thing. Mm-hmm. And so I love that you say that. And did that just come to you? Where did that come from?
So it's funny because if you go back to my very, very early videos, I didn't say it because it was just not something that I had thought of. Yeah. But yeah, I had the same thought. I was like, I want something that like feels good to say every time, that like they like are welcomed every time with the same kind of information and name and like feeling. And I don't know, like I really like the idea of soulmates, but not necessarily in the way of like love in like, you know, like a lover, more of like, I don't know, just like realizing that you can have like different types of soulmates in your life, of like friendship and just like, you know, mentors or just anyone. And so, and like, so I kind of was like, okay, is there like a way I could, I don't know, make that into like how we interact? And like it's cool to think of all these people coming to a video for the same reason, right? Obviously we, you know, we all have technically different reasons, like relaxation, sleep, etc., but like we're all going and wanting some sort of like safe haven and like experience. And so I was like, yeah, and we all like, you know, want to listen and like be there. So yeah, Sound Soulmates was where
it really comes across. It doesn't come across romantic like that. It really comes across like you're welcoming someone or everyone who just has some sort of connection to you or to each other. I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I'm glad. I was like, I definitely had that time though where I was like, what the heck do I call? Like, what do I say? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. And like, my chat has came up with stuff, and just all of it is just so so anyway, if anything comes to you, let me know.
Okay.
Okay, so December 11th 2013 at least is your first upload on your channel.
Yeah, that's the first upload.
And is it the actual first one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I love it. See, a lot of people I've talked to, and me included, have like the first few like unlisted or deleted because they're like so bad.
I mean,
so that really is your first. I love that. Okay.
Well, and the thing is like I literally had that thought where I was like, should I like make that not a thing? But I'm like, again, lore. That is my lore. That is where I'm from, and like how far I've gotten.
Well, look how
like,
far you've gone.
You need that. You just like need that, and like also because it was just so purely like I wanted that in that moment. Like there was no ulterior motives. There was nothing. It was just I like this thing and I want to try it and I want to experience it with other people.
I love it. So, okay, December 11th, 2013. And then the next one that's on there is January 11th, 2016. Okay. So that's some time in between.
Yeah.
and then it looks like around 2017-ish, you started uploading consistently.
Yes.
So talk to me about the decision to start being consistent with uploads, and what did it take for you to get to that point?
That's That's a good question. And to be honest, I can't really remember what what was the switch that like changed
Yeah.
that. But I think so I was it was the end of my like college time when
Mm-hmm.
I started to really get back into the idea of ASMR and like creating it. And I was looking for a creative outlet. I kind of felt like I didn't, have any like really solid thing that I felt like was a hobby or something I really liked to do. And I was like,
Yeah.
like why don't I just like start making videos like more and just see what happens. And
Yeah.
again, it never was. I feel like this is obviously what most people's answer is, and if you have a different answer, okay. But like, I just wanted to do it because I loved it, and I wanted
Yeah.
to be a part of the community in a bigger way than just like occasional uploads or
Yeah.
watching it. And so yeah, it was kind of like my chance to have creativity that I was missing, I guess. And it was so cool to be able to like be on camera again.
Mm-hmm.
I did theater in high school. I thought I was going to be an actor
Ooh.
growing up. Like that was my like I'm going to go to Broadway and that kind of stuff.
Any productions of note that you were in?
My biggest role
Mm-hmm.
was the Wicked Witch.
Love it.
I got to play that. It was great because I got like the biggest non-singing role, and I don't like really sing in public. I don't sing
Mm-hmm.
well,
Yeah.
so it was like cool that I got to like be the like a huge part still of the production.
Did you have to do face paint for
Oh
that?
yeah, face
Okay.
paint, hand paint. I had to change my voice. I had to wear an annoying like black dress, and like I also got to shoot fireballs out of my hand. There
Whoa.
was this contraption where you like put it under your like shirt, and it like
Whoa.
shoots like a fireball thing.
Wait, when was this? High school?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my story. In 5th grade, I was also in a production of The Wizard of Oz.
Of course.
And two things. One, I was the guy, I can't remember his name, but I was the guy that opens the door when they get to Oz.
Oh, yes.
That was my role. Two, the girl who played the witch, I guess.
Yes, the Wicked Witch, yeah.
The Wicked Witch. Keep in mind, this was a long time ago, 5th grade. The paint that they used didn't come off for a week. And she came to school with it lighter green and lighter green and lighter green over time. And it was just the wrong kind, or like the technology wasn't there. And she seriously, for a week, was coming to school with it
God.
like it was so bad. Like her parents were like furious with the school, and like it was terrible.
I'm laughing, but also because I know the pain of having that kind of stuff on your body and just like not being able to get it off is such a horrible feeling.
It was
well,
chaos.
yeah, I will say that they used, like paint that is made for body, but it definitely wasn't like good for your skin. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like just because it's like can go on your body doesn't mean it feels good. And so it was
Sure.
like kind of greasy, and it like made me break out. Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Is there footage of you in this? And can I have it?
I think there is. Well, if I could find a clip of just me and nobody else is in the video, obviously I don't want to like show anyone else, but if I can find a clip, I can send that to you.
I would love that. Look at us, both in productions.
Wizard of Oz. The Doorman.
The Doorman. Does he have a name? I don't remember.
I don't know.
I don't know. All I remember is I had to say the horse of a different color line. All of that. And I had to be on like a huge ladder that I was scared of because I was
had
at
to
the top
be
of the
up,
door.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess the tangent being that like I missed being on stage. I missed that like exciting like kind of like presenting a thing and people being excited about it. So
and then you found that YouTube kind of supplemented that for you.
Yeah,
nice. I love it. I am the exact same way, by the way. I did music for a long time, toured a lot, I did like 4 or 5 shows a week, and then YouTube kind of filled that for me too. So
yeah,
I love it. Do you have a personal favorite video you've made?
That's a really hard question.
I know. There
Mostly
can be
because,
multiple.
well, I think I don't know. I sometimes I'll go back and look at old videos to like torture myself and just see what's happening.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's like weird how it's like it's funny because sometimes I like miss those old videos
Yeah.
because I don't know. Once you grow, and you probably know this experience, there is a like standard that people expect. There is
Hmm.
a kind of image and content that people expect and will, click on. And,
Yeah.
although we could talk all day about do what you love and like make only what you want to make, but unfortunately that's not the reality when it's your job.
Yep.
And so there's a very like nostalgic draw to those like older videos where, because I'm like, man, because I
Simpler
literally
times.
didn't care. I literally
Yeah.
didn't care. I was like, I'm
Yep.
gonna like not show my part of my face, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna like tap, and it kind of sounds like shit, but like
Right.
nobody
Yeah.
cares.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I often like look back at like old videos, and there's this one role play I did that I was very, very proud of in the beginning. It was called the like natural shop role play.
Hmm.
And I had like two camera angles, and I had never done
Ooh.
that before. And like, I don't know, I just like everything about it, I felt really good about.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's still a great video, even though, it's lower quality. And so I think I always go back to that one because it just feels like, again, just like what I wanted to do. And I
Yep.
got to explore that. So
I love that. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think you brought up a really interesting topic for aspiring creators out there about, as your channel grows and also as the community of ASMR grows and adapts, things have changed a lot over the years, right? And
Yeah.
there is like you said, a lot, like most people in response will say, well, just do what makes you happy, do all that. And that is true, but also there's an unsaid pressure to keep up with the trends that are happening, to keep up with, oh, people are using this mic now, you know what I mean? And even all the way down to the titles of videos and thumbnails and everything. And so there's definitely a pressure there that that everyone deals with, and especially if you're starting now, there's so much to look at and and compare yourself to, where when we started there wasn't thousands of these channels to look at.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
exactly.
Maybe talk to me about that. Talk to me about how you navigate through that kind of pressure.
Yeah. Well, I think the basic answer is I'm still learning how to navigate, and I don't think
Absolutely,
I'll
yes.
ever stop learning how to navigate, as you probably know.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think it's hard. It's hard to be on a platform that doesn't give creators information about how they change
Right.
algorithms, how they change what they push. Is it because of ads? Is it because of click rate? Is it because of X, Y, or Z? And so that will always be in the back of my head. It will, no matter how much I want to say, oh, well, I just want to make what I love. It will always go, is this thumbnail something people will click on? And then if yes, then will they watch the video through? How long will they watch it? And so I don't know. I've been trying my best to like merge those two experiences of what do I like to make, and what will make my channel thrive and continue to grow and continue to show more people. And it's definitely not always the correct like amount of one or the other. I did like recently, I did a book library role play, where I was like, in a study, and I was like showing you books, and I had lots of different angles, and it was very heavily inspired by Goodnight Moon because I absolutely adore her attention to detail.
Yes. Shout out to Goodnight Moon.
Yes. And it just didn't do well on my channel. And like I spent hours on that, And so at first it gave me that like anxiety, and it gave me that like sadness that like, you know, people didn't get to see it. But
Yeah.
then, you know, I also had that like, but I actually wanted to make that. And like,
Right.
I'm glad that I made it, whether or not 2 people watched it or, you know, a lot. And so,
Yeah.
um, I guess it's just like trying to find that balance of like, yeah, sometimes actually do just like make what you want. Obviously, you
Right.
can't always do that, but like sometimes you just gotta freaking do that and be like,
Yep.
I want to make this, whether or not YouTube's gonna show it to people or not. So
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I think
yeah.
that's um I think that's what most people would say, me included. It's just it's that balance. It's that like, you know, some of the videos that really went off for me, I thought were terrible.
Hmm.
And then some where I'm
Okay,
like, oh,
I
this
want
is
to
the
talk about that for a second after you're
yeah.
done.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I was just gonna and then like some of the ones that I spend a lot of time on and I'm like, oh, this is the one completely flops. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
you know, obviously creators out there, obviously, you know, pay attention to your analytics, of course, and always try to get better and learn, but also know that like truly we don't know anything. And so at the end of the day, you know, make cool things, make great things, and the biggest part is trying. The biggest part is putting it out there,
Yeah.
and you just don't know. You just
Exactly.
don't know. What are you gonna say?
So I was going to say that like it feels like a joke, but it's very real that like the amount of times, and this isn't like 1 or 2 times, like probably 10 plus times
Mhm.
where I have like made a video with like no time like before I had to upload it
Yeah.
on my iPhone with like no prep and nothing, and it was very just like spur of the moment were the things that got the most clicks. And like
Yeah.
it honestly feels almost like the less you care, the more it'll be
I
shown, and
know.
it's very confusing and I don't quite
Yeah.
understand how that all works, but it's very real.
It is so real and it's so confusing as a creator because you know we're looking at everything. We're looking at analytics and what people are saying and you know again at the end of the day it's like seriously no one because look if someone knew how the algorithm works they would do it and have a billion
Yeah.
subscribers. You know what I
And
mean?
like
So like
everyone that says that they know and like put out like clickbait titles, like yeah, there's probably some stuff to like take from those, but like it's always
no one knows.
changing and like
Yep.
trends always change and yeah.
Yep. And advertisers change because
Yes.
really the advertisers are what pushes
Yep.
things around. Um wow, I love okay, yes. I want to talk to you a little bit about your process
Oh god.
with filming. And what I mean by that is I'm not talking about in order. I'm talking about really kind of where do your ideas come from and then what's your favorite part of creating whether it be the setup or actually filming or editing
Yeah.
or it could even be the outcome.
Um I have always worked very sporadically.
Hmm.
I have had a hard time having film days.
Yeah.
I have a very hard time even just having a general schedule of uploading.
Yeah.
Even though I know that's what I need to do, it still doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to do it.
Me too.
And specifically with filming days, when I have something that like speaks to me or feels good, I just have to like do it whenever that
Yeah.
is basically, or like at least within, you know, a certain amount of like a day or two.
Hmm.
Or else honestly I lose that like desire to even make that one video.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
so like I don't know. I've never really been like I have this really good idea, and then like 2 months later I do it.
Yeah.
It's like I have this idea, I have to do it, and I have to upload it. Like,
Yep. Yep. I am the same way, by the way. If something sounds really good, I have to do it now. Or if I wait a couple of days, I'm probably not going to do it.
yeah,
I'm
and
the
like,
same way.
and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing.
No.
I mean, sometimes it can be a little hectic and chaotic,
Hmm. Hmm.
but it has been the only way that feels the best of
Yeah.
like what speaks to me. Because like on a Monday, I, go to a bookstore and then I go, oh my gosh, I love books. I want to like explore books.
Yeah.
And then, on Friday, I go, wow, I'm really down. I really want to just talk to my camera and like hang out. And like that like jump, I don't, then on Friday, I'm not going to want to make that like book content. I'm going to want to make that other thing. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I've been trying to be a little more like, not so hard on myself, that like sometimes things are a little chaotic and sporadic with me, because I know that when I usually make a video, that means I wanted to make it and there was some sort of spark and desire to do it.
Absolutely.
As for what the best part is, I definitely think the like final like thing is the best. I filming is usually good. Sometimes it feels a little like not a little daunting, because like, you know that you have to do it and you want it to be good and you're, very like in your head about it. Editing, I don't know. A lot of people like the editing process. I'm definitely one of the people that hate looking at myself, and I hate like the idea of like editing and it being bad gives me so much anxiety. So then I'm like, I just don't even want to look at it.
Yeah.
If I don't look at it, it's not bad.
Right.
And so I definitely feel like the final product and like, oh wow, it came together, it's released into the wild, and that feels good to me. So
nice. Yeah. Something that just popped into my head that I've never asked anyone, but I'm genuinely curious is like setup, meaning like the lights and camera and backdrop and all of that. Do you have that set up permanently, or are you taking it up and down?
Yes. So like what you see right now is like my setup. I film in front of my computers. I film on a desk, and because I live in a small place, I don't really have the option to like move or like have different spaces. So like this is it. My void, my ring light, this and that. And obviously I've, there's a couple videos I've moved and, tried to make things work. But yeah, this is my setup. This is where I stream. This is where I film.
Love
where
it.
I do everything.
Yeah, because I think it's interesting, because I remember, like, at least for me in my brain, the way that I work, the workflow of it is so important to me. And before I moved, when I had to take things down and set it up, there were days where I'm like, I'm not going to film today because I'm not doing that. Like, I just hate it so much. And so for creators out there too, like, everyone's situation is different. Your living situation, your, whatever you have. But like, most of the people, me included now, if you can have a setup that you can even close to keep up and not have to deal with the setup every time, your workflow is going to be so much smoother, because for some people that's a half an hour to an hour of setup. You know what I mean? So I've never asked anybody that, but I think that's interesting. Okay. Love it. Okay. Let's go here. I'm going to skip this because we'll put it there. YouTube is your full time, right?
Yeah. I've been full time for 2 years now.
Love it. Talk to me about that decision.
To be honest, it was like less of a decision and more of like I think this needs to happen now, because I graduated college for about a year or maybe a little more. I worked at like, a job.
Yeah.
A real life job.
Right.
And I was waiting for my partner to finish college. And so we kind of were just hanging around. But then, once he was done, we kind of had that moment of like, oh, we can like do what we want and like go other places. So we like temporarily moved, into a different house with some people. And we were kind of like there temporarily, knowing that we wanted to like go somewhere else and do something else. And so during that time when I was, I had moved from my original college town area, I was like still working that job virtually, but it was kind of like on a timeline where I knew in a couple months that wasn't how it was going to be.
Got it.
And so when that finished, I started to look for other jobs. I knew I was going to move to where I am now. and I was doing some interviews and stuff, and nothing was happening. Like, I just wasn't getting anything. And I applied to so many jobs. So then when I moved finally and I got here, I was like, I think that this is like my sign to just try content creation, because like the worst thing that happens is I again don't have a job. Like, I already don't have a job. So and I had, you know, done the math and, you know, knew that probably for a little bit it would feel not great, and like the income was a little, you know, on the lower side, but I was like, I can make it work. And so I just did it.
Nice.
And it worked.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Okay. So maybe a necessity and timing.
Yeah. Exactly. And it was like definitely like it felt I don't know. It like it was definitely scary. It wasn't like, you know, an easy decision, but it definitely felt like, I don't know. It just felt like if I didn't do it then, when would I do it? You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay. That is awesome, and also a fantastic segue into the next question. Look at you. So I've spoken about this on previous episodes about how the actual revenue from YouTube can be a for lack of better term, just a roller coaster. It can be really good, and it can be really bad.
Yes.
So a way to supplement and kind of level it out is sponsorships.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about sponsorships. I think it's beneficial for creators out there to learn kind of from experience and just know, you know, we both take on sponsorships, and shout out to Ben. I'm going to have Ben on the show. I'm very excited about that. I think like having his perspective is going to be really cool. First question I'm going to ask him is, what's the most annoying thing I do?
He'd be like, timing.
Yeah, he's like, you send the video 4 seconds before it's due.
At least you're self-aware. It's fine.
Yeah, of course. But so with sponsors, just so you guys know out there, at least in my experience, sponsors are really where the consistent good money is, to be honest. And then also, it again, if your YouTube revenue is up and down, sponsors, if you can get them consistently, really level it out and make it easier for you as a human to just, you know, plan things and budget and, you know, whatever you need to do. So what do you look for in a sponsor, and just talk to me a little bit about your process of maybe how about this? Let's talk about the process of sponsors when you first started and now. Like
I'm ever changing when it comes to things, and sponsors is definitely one of those things that I am still adapting to in a way that I don't know if I'll ever feel completely 100% with them. I don't know. There's something it's like this constant battle of like knowing that it's, you know, a good thing that I have sponsorships, because that means I can create without fear. I can create, and I know that I will still have, you know, the ability to pay my rent and eat and do this. But obviously there's always that other side that's like, well, do I actually like want to like do this sponsor? Like, am I doing it because of the money? Am I doing it because of, you know, I actually like the brand? And like, where's that middle ground? And like being, and I think what happened at the beginning was, you know, basically taking everything I could, because that's kind of what you have, not, you don't have to, but when you need money and you need to live and survive, that you kind of don't really get to be choosy. And so I took most things that was presented to me. And I think now I am very like privileged to be able to say no when I feel that doesn't really feel like something that I would actually use, or I don't think I want my community to be, you know, I don't want to talk to my community about that. And there was actually, I'm not going to name names, but I'll say like there was one that has consistently asked me probably for about 6 months now. And I don't know, just like the vibes of the way they like have asked me and like presented themselves to me and how pushy they were, it was just like,
Yeah.
you get
Yep.
vibes and
Yep.
exactly. And so then like, I just said, I'm good. And so I feel very lucky to be able to again have that option to say no. But yeah, I definitely still have that like, do I really want to be, sponsored by this or not kind of
Right.
thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess when making your decision, you're thinking about, obviously, it kind of sounds like your brand, if
Hmm.
you will, and what people expect and get from you, but also your viewers as well. Like, if certain things you don't want to share with them,
Yeah.
or I love that. Did you ever start out when you were first starting to get sponsors and stuff? Did you take any that were just product?
Mm, oh gosh, I'm trying to think pre-Ben because I'm trying to remember
Right.
what I did
Pre-Ben.
before Ben.
Before, oh my God.
What
It
were
was
we
rough out
doing
there.
before
Rough
Ben?
out there. Yeah, rough. And if you
Um,
guys don't know, Ben is GB's husband
yes.
and also a brand manager for a lot of us. And he is the man and has changed a lot of people's lives.
Yes. Also shout out, okay, wait. Before we get shout out to MattyTingles here
Mm-hmm.
for saying that, hey, Ben, you should hang out with Slight and give her some deals because honestly, I
Yes, that's
mean,
right.
like Maddie gave me that opportunity and like it did change my life. It changed like my ability to like
Yeah.
not feel so terrified of my income.
Yeah. Well, and also like, cause we, outside of the community of ASMR and stuff, I consider you a friend. And so I remember talking multiple times about like, hey, like, how do I negotiate? How do
Yeah.
I figure this out and this out and this out? And then right when we were talking about that one time was when I first started working with Ben. And I was like, listen, you know what I mean? And so I'm really glad that worked out.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's completely changed a lot of stuff for a lot of people.
Yeah, but to answer your question, I can't really remember. I think maybe once I did or something, but it was actually wild to me how like um just to be very blunt, how
Yeah.
I don't know, gross companies can be with
Yeah.
the not paying people and not
Yes.
I basically like knowing that smaller creators will take what they can get because they believe it will push them further,
Mhm.
when in fact they're just being exploited by that company.
I talked to Friv about this yesterday. How brands are so predatory towards
Yes.
smaller
Yeah,
channels. It's
because like,
crazy.
and even if they do pay, they'll pay something that is even with a small channel, it's just
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like it just not chump change to them. They're
Yep.
businesses. These, especially
It's nothing.
corporations, like
Yes, it's
you
nothing.
have to remember that like these are
Yes.
large.
Yes. With they're large companies with, by the way, a budget for this built in.
Exactly. And so yeah, I definitely fell into that because like, oh, a brand wants to work with me. That
Oh
means
yeah.
I'm gonna hit it big. So
Yeah.
like, I of course I'm gonna take your product because like or I'm gonna shout you out for this or that or
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think so. I remember I did maybe 3 or so for product, and I remember that feeling of like, whoa, I am doing it. You want to
Yeah.
send me free soap? Let's go.
Yeah.
Right. And then I told this story in the last episode, but I think it's just so like, so there's the saying of know your worth, right? Everyone says it. Hardly anyone really knows how to do that.
Yeah.
Right. And it's very hard to do. And what really changed my perspective of that was at VidCon, I want to say 2018. Pokimane was on the ASMR panel,
Mm-hmm.
and she said something about, she was like, they brought up sponsors and stuff, and she was like, you guys have to understand, out of any genre on the internet, ASMR has by far the highest return rate. Meaning, like, I mean, I don't have to say, like, when people find a video, they go back to it for
Oh yeah.
years. You know what I mean? And so, again, like, if you watch a vlog or a music video or something, you're watching it once and you're like, okay, that was cool. And with ASMR, it's like, no, you're getting so many eyes and returning eyes. And by the way, as a company sponsoring, it's those return eyes that are buying the thing. They see it once and they're like, okay. And like the fifth time when you see it, you're like, actually, I kind of want that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so when she said that, though, I was like, it really like liberated me to be like, you know what? That's a great point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it didn't necessarily give me a number or like a what my worth was, but I always think that like the offer is cool, but like you're getting a lot just being on an ASMR channel.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so I think for creators out there, like don't be afraid to, first of all, if you're just starting out or wherever you're at, there's nothing wrong with taking product for a sponsor.
No.
It's an amazing feeling and it's something that you'll remember forever. Like your first sponsor is really cool. But when you get to a certain point, either figure out a flat fee to ask for, and if you lose some because of it, it's okay. It's better than taking way less than you're worth and then giving up who knows what to the company, or find someone who can help you.
Yeah.
And that's where Ben came in for a lot of us.
Yes. And I think it's interesting because I've had this discussion with my partner before, is like, I know this probably isn't the case for everyone, but as a woman in creating, and just, I mean, in life, I feel like we are often told we need to be, you know, like, there's like it's harder for me as a woman who has been often told, like, you know, you need to be like quiet and nice and reserved, and you can't be too pushy because, you know, you'll be the B word if you're this or that. And I think that has translated. I remember at the beginning of like not asking for as much because, you know, I don't want to seem pushy. I don't want to seem this or that. And like, that, obviously that spans, you know, not just for women, but I think there's an extra added layer when we're, you know, told that we can't be that way in the first place. So like, just take what you can get kind of, because don't push back. Yes. And so that's something I've been working through, and like even pushing back on Ben sometimes. I'd be like, hey, Ben, like, could you like push back on that? Because, you know, I don't think that's a good rate. So
yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's a really good point. And honestly, you know, you're absolutely right. I mean, let's just call it what it is. Like it is in so many ways, it is easier. I'm just going to say that it's easier as a male to do a lot of these things. It just is. Like I was talking with other people on previous podcasts about demonetization. Like I've never been demonetized once.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it just things like that. And that's a great point about talking with brands. I mean, there's that fear of you don't want to be pushy because of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a great point.
So that's kind of something I'm still working through, and I don't know. It's again an ever changing like experience, and like learning how to navigate that, and like, you know, yeah.
Wow, I that's a great point. Okay, so I want to talk to you about being a part of the LGBTQA+ community.
Yeah.
I think it would be really cool for creators to hear maybe your story and just kind of how the community has helped and shaped who you are and how you create.
Yeah, definitely. So I identify my sexual orientation has kind of morphed and changed, and like obviously language is always changing. So you know, I originally came out as bisexual because that was like, you know, the term, like that was what I knew. And I was like, you know, I like not just men. And then, you know, a few years down the line, I was like, oh, like pansexual. That's like a term where that basically means, no, you don't really like their gender and how they express themselves doesn't matter. I just like a lot of different kinds of people. And then I heard the term queer, which obviously is, you know, is and has been used as a slur. So a lot of people aren't comfortable using that as a term to, you know, represent themselves. But that felt good to me because queerness is more than just sexuality. It's kind of like the community. It's like, you know, just like being who you are unapologetically, and just like, you know, there's a lot of layers to it. So it just kind of felt good. So I usually say I'm queer, but pansexual, bisexual, whatever, you know, kind of thing. So I like came out to myself, is how I like to say it, in freshman year of college. I was like, college, if you haven't been, sometimes you go, oh, new things happen in college where your brain goes, I have the confines of like reality and your parents and society can be broken in college. And so it was kind of those, I was like, wow, like I'm not straight. And I was like sick. So I like came out to myself, and I kind of came out to close friends and people that I trusted. And then I came out publicly on Facebook, I don't know, 4 years after that, probably. And that was more for like, you know, family and people outside of my personal bubble realm. So some of my family is very conservative, very Christian. And so I knew that there might be some like issues with that. And so for me, coming out in a public way like that felt very much more safe than like going directly to them and be like, hey, let's have this deep conversation about this. You know, I was like, I think I'm going to pass on that one. So I kind of just put it out into the world and was like, whoever sees this, here you go, you know, now. Anyway, and so ever since then, I mean, I'm definitely not shy talking about it. I mean, it doesn't define me, but it's also a huge part of who I am. It's one of those things. It's like, I don't know. It's like, it's who you are, but it's also like just a part of you. It's, I don't know. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's a little complicated. But I feel very lucky to now have like a platform where I can be very open unapologetically and have that privilege to be very open and proud without fear, because there's so many people that come into my chat on Twitch or YouTube that say like, I can't tell anybody, but you being here makes me feel seen, makes me feel heard, makes me feel like I have a space. And like that is the best feeling in the world, because that's all I want for myself and other people, you know?
Yes. Yeah. I love that. Wow. I've never heard the term. I really like like coming out to yourself.
Yeah. Well, because it's like one of those really things that like for people that you know, are straight and are not, you know, part of the LGBTQ community, there's like such a you grow up thinking you're straight. Like that's just, at least for a while, that's kind of what the norm is. It's like you're straight until otherwise proven. And so I had never even like contemplated that until, you know, older, or, you know, when I was older, because I was told I wasn't anything else, or I couldn't be, well, sometimes, but like, you know, I was never presented to me in a good way. So I was like, that's not a thing. I'm not, that's, you know? And so I kind of had to, you know, have that moment of like, oh, like, hey, slight. There's some stuff happening there.
Okay. What is it like being an online creator in that arena?
I mean, most of the time it's amazing. Most of the time it's, again, affirming. It feels like you have a sense of, you know, extra community when, you know, other people that are a part of the LGBTQ plus community come in and, you know, again, they feel safe, they feel welcome, they feel like they can even just explore. Like, even if I've had people that like haven't, you know, had the thought of, you know, not being straight before, or like even gender and like that come up and be like, I've never even really thought of this, but like I think I might be bi. And it's like sick. Like, I'm glad that you felt comfortable enough being here to like have that moment of like, whoa, maybe there's more here.
Wow.
And it's just like, it's truly beautiful and wonderful. And like, I feel so lucky, again, to be able to have the position to be so open for the people that may need that kind of like sense of community they didn't have. Obviously there's always the other side of that where, you know, homophobia is rampant, transphobia is rampant, like all that stuff. And so it's such a small percentage, but it's the reality, you know. It still happens and it will continue to happen.
Do you have any advice for creators who haven't experienced that and may?
It's never going to feel good. And
Right.
like, you know, unfortunately it probably won't. I mean, it gets easier, but it always feels bad when someone comes in and says, you know, homophobic stuff to you.
Yeah.
For me though, I always have to ride the line of like, is this worth my time to stand my ground and say what I want to say, or do I just like delete this and move on? Because like
Right.
sometimes one is needed and sometimes the other is needed. Sometimes
Yeah.
you're like, this is so absurd and awful that I'm not even going to
Yeah.
entertain, you know, interacting with that.
Yep.
But then like, especially when I'm like on Twitch and streaming in real time, having a learning moment, having a moment of standing up for myself and my
Yes.
community is needed also. Like,
Yeah.
and that idea of like don't feed the trolls is such an awful, I hate
Agreed.
that
Yeah.
so much, because it's
Agreed.
like, no, like someone said something bad and awful, and I want to let not only the people that I care about know that they're safe here, but anyone else that thinks like that that's not how we do things around here, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's, as a content creator, you kind of have to find that balance of like what is right now, like what do I need to do, what do I need to do for my community to like feel good about that.
Pick and choose the moments.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the same way. And obviously, like, I don't want to say it gets easier over time. I think we probably just become a little more numb to things, honestly.
Yeah.
So like now when I see things, I'm just like, okay. And normally I'll delete them, or, you know, most of the time I can brush it off. But yeah, when it's there's certain things that are just so blatantly wrong.
Yeah.
And especially if you can make it a teaching moment or an educational moment for them and anyone else who sees it.
Yeah.
I think that can be really powerful too.
Definitely. And
So
you know, also
good.
you can also make fun of them and joke sometimes. There's
100%.
also that other sliver where you can just be sarcastic. You can be an asshole to them. They deserve it.
It's one of my favorite things. It's one of my favorite things. Most of the time, in the comments from mine, there's spelling errors. I always call them out on their spelling errors and laugh and just yeah. Okay. I love it. Well, I'm very proud of you. I think that you do a very good job.
Thank
you. I think that there's a lot of people who look up to you in that realm, and I think you're doing amazing things.
Thank you.
Amazing things. Okay, I got a couple more for you.
All right.
And then we'll get you out of here. If you could collab with any YouTuber in the world, not just ASMR, who would it be? And let's just take me out of the equation because that's the obvious.
Oh man. It's funny because my brain goes so quickly to ASMR creators because I'm so like entrenched in the ASMR community.
I mean, look, give me some of those. Maybe we can make it happen through the show. Who knows?
Well, okay, so I've always I talk about this on stream, and I always like find it funny and weird that I like talk about other creators when they're not there because I feel like weird about it, but whatever. Goodnight Moon, I got to meet her in California when I was there for TwitchCon. And that was really great, and we had like lunch and hung out. But I have this vision of us having a like ASMR picnic in like very wonderful decked out outfits. And it's all very like, you know, fanciful and wonderful, and like that's, I don't know, it's like something that's always been in the back of my head of something I want to do. And so, you know, maybe it doesn't seem that far off. Like it could happen one day.
Absolutely. I mean, look, the set would be beautiful.
Yeah. Exactly. Just like the little trinkets and teacups and cakes and just everything.
I love Goodnight Moon. She was on the panel with me on at VidCon, and she was absolutely lovely.
Yeah. And so she's definitely someone that like I will always, you know, adore and would love to collab with. And also someone that is I feel like a lot of people my age, you know, had this experience of like in high school growing up with YouTube and like having that like YouTubers were so cool in high school, and like they were obviously it's so different now. I mean, people still look up to YouTubers, but it was just like a different realm when it was like, you know, a few years ago. And I used to watch like Grace Helbig and Hannah Hart and them, and I
love Hannah Hart.
Yeah, and I would love to collab with Hannah Hart because like it's funny because I was again not like out to myself you know, when I watched her, but like we kind of had a similar projection of like how we, you know, coming out and like being in the like public eye, and like even her like political views change with me, and I feel very like connected to her. I don't really watch her as much anymore, but I would love to like sit down and like, I don't know, talk to her and hang out with her and be like, hey, like it's cool to see like someone have a similar trajectory in like the YouTube realm.
That is a great answer.
And she would probably be great at ASMR. So
also true.
Yeah.
Also true. Yeah, I watched her quite a bit.
Yeah, My Drunk Kitchen was like my favorite thing ever. I love that.
Yeah, me too. I actually walked by her at VidCon. Because when you're like with the featured thing, like everyone stays in the same hotel.
Yeah.
And so I was just like walking by people and I'm like, you know, and she walked by. She was like with a team and like people, so I didn't say anything. But
yeah, she's great.
She is great.
Yeah,
that's a great answer. Yeah. Great answer. Okay, and lastly, I want to talk to you about equipment because I think a lot of that's like the thing that people would love to know.
Yes.
What for streaming or for your channel, what cameras and mics are you currently using?
So I have to literally look every time. Is this like the normal where I have to like you have to look?
Okay. Only one person has known everything off top.
So that's Sony A6400 is the camera that I recently, probably like a year ago, you know, switched to. I use this for streaming and videos.
Yep. That's what I'm using right now, by the way.
It's great. I love it. Low lighting. If you're looking for creators that use like dark lighting, this is a very good camera for that. I have been using my Rode NT1s a lot. That's what I'm using right now for like dual mics. I've been using those a lot more, but the blue Yeti has a large presence on my channel because that was like my, you know, microphone for a long time. So Blue Yeti. I have an ear mic that you gave me. The head rec that I use on stream sometimes. And that's for lighting. Man, Maddie, when I tell you I want softbox lighting so badly, when I get a larger freaking office, I'm gonna have some beautiful softbox lighting.
But
right now I have a ring light that I have like here, and then the glow that I have in all my videos now is like a little portable like lamp.
I love it. Yeah.
So
you're I think the quality of your videos really changed when you started using that glow. Like it looks really good.
Well, I really love warm lighting. Like I will always love warm toned things. It makes me feel so cozy, and like it's so like the warmer the better in my opinion. And so I've been loving like the kind of darker warm atmosphere.
I love it. Nice. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. This was a blast.
Yeah.
It's also just so good to see you. What I'm realizing doing this podcast is I wanted to make this podcast to help other people and creators of any size, because I think you learn a lot from hearing people. But also just selfishly, I'm realizing how much I love like talking to these people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And like we don't get this, especially in the last year and a half. Like we just don't have this. And so I appreciate you so much for being on here.
Thank you for having me. I mean, same to you. Like, man, like that's the thing about online creation. It's like we're all spread out in different countries, different states, and it's like that desire to like have like, you know, a community where you could all just like hang out all the time and like create is just like so wanted. So like things like this make you feel less like lonely.
Absolutely. Yeah. And make no mistake, I think I was talking to Ben about this a long time ago. Like when things are cleared or back to, I don't know if it'll be back to normal, but the new normal, whatever we're going to, we're going to rent an enormous home and just have people come in, and we're just going to do everything that we've wanted to do. Like we're going to do it. Okay, Slight, where can they find you online? This is your chance to plug away.
Oh my. Okay, well, Slight Sounds ASMR on YouTube. Slight, I think _sounds on Twitch. If you just type in Slight Sounds, it'll
Was
come
Slight
up.
Sounds taken?
I don't know. Why do I have that? Wait. What? Wait, why don't I have... Oh wait, no, it is just Slight Sounds. Okay. I just don't know my own. Does anyone know their own thing? I don't know.
Right.
And then you can just find me on Instagram and Twitter again. Just type in Slight Sounds and it'll come up. But yeah, I have all that. TikTok.
Yeah.
If you like the TikTok, the kids these days.
Oh, I really enjoy making stuff on TikTok, and it's been fun. I just I can't. It like doesn't connect to my brain that I need to do that consistently.
Also,
I'll do stuff.
I don't know if you've had this experience, but the kids on TikTok are brutal. Like,
oh my God,
they're the meanest people I've ever met in my life.
They are built way different. Way different.
Who says that to people?
Yeah. And I remember, like, I'll be honest, I was like the grumpy dude that was like, when TikTok came out, I'm like, yeah, right. Good try. We'll see. And then I remember being at VidCon, and like the TikToker people that showed up were way bigger, and like they had bigger crowds than the YouTubers. And I'm like, uh-oh. Like, okay. And like I get like again, like, you know, it's short form media and people attention span, like they love, I get it.
Yeah.
But I like, it's just, I need to add it to my like
no, definitely do. It's that's one thing. I mean, like, not to like make this 1,000 times longer, but the idea of like, when you're a content creator, the amount of various little things you have to do that you just like don't realize they all add up. Like Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, my emails, this, comments, analytics, and you're just like, I need more emotes. So I need like
and YouTube Shorts now that released. Just they keep adding like.
And it's like, obviously there's a point where like, you know, you can keep up and be good about that. But there's also a point where sometimes you just got to be like, okay, maybe I'll just like not do that one.
Yep. But again, that comes back to that fear of like, okay, maybe I'll not do that one. But also like, what if that's the one that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? It's like the fear of like being irrelevant and like losing out on opportunity is like a constant fear, and it's awful. And I wish it wasn't a thing, but it is.
Yeah. One of my tricks that I've been doing is I've been when I'm editing a video, after I'm done, I've been making a vertical version that's like 59 seconds. And then I've been using that same file on Shorts and TikTok and just putting them multiple places.
Yeah, that's after I finish my video, I always make an Instagram and a TikTok, because I know I'm gonna need it. So,
but these are things that people don't think of, especially when you're first starting out. Yeah. It is not just making that video anymore. Yeah. It's really not. No. Slight, thank you so much for being here. This was so much fun. Yes. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Matty.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Please remember to subscribe and leave a review wherever you're listening to this. This has been the Creator Code Podcast. I'm your host, MattyTingles. Be safe out there. Be kind to others and yourself. I'll see you next time. Bye.